Here's another type of hung light, but this is not the larger hung light, but this is a smallest hung light that I'm running for now. This is a 32cc hung light XL automatic oiling chainsaw. I just ran it for about a couple minutes ago and it runs just fine. And I made a shield, made a shield for it. It had a 16-inch bar with its original 16-inch Oregon USA chain. But I don't know if you could still definitely get those chains for these saws anymore though. But it's a great little saw. I never used it the whole lot. Sometimes I do. And I just rather use it to cut firewood with. So anyways, let me show you a couple quick features of it. You got stop, but my kill switch is sideways, but I know yours is not. It's regular way. Left is on. Right is off. That's the oil. That's fuel. But these fans do not have a vent. It does not allow gas to escape from the cap while I'm using it. But the vent on each three big caps for these larger chainsaws like the Super XL and the XL12, they haven't gone bad. And it's leaking gas when you run it for too long. All the gas will spray everywhere. If it goes on the muffler, it'll catch on fire. Because that's what I was worried about if I'm going to use this chainsaw a lot. Because I had to shut that thing off. Quick. Those red caps are definitely garbage. You better replace them before you use it. But even that, if your caps are leaking gas same way as mine is, I recommend you to get one of the better saws, one of the modern ones to finish up the job and take its place for a little while. Or even this little saw, little Ryobi, or the tiny hung light, which is a top held chainsaw. But this is lightweight. I like using this little saw for sometimes. But this is a guard, it's not a chain break or anything. But it's just a small saw. I could pull an 18-inch, 16-inch, and a 14-inch bar. And it's a very sweet little saw. And almost just like the ones used in the Evil Dead movie, which is Ash the Evil Dead movie. Even that. It's a good little saw. I like using this saw a whole lot. But sometime on Halloween, I usually play around with them sometimes, wearing a costume and stuff. But I'm not going to be taking the chain off of this one because it'll get a little tricky. If I stretched out its stud on there, this saw is junk. I'd rather keep the chain in the bar and chain on this one. But there's the other one I had that this bar actually came from, but it got seized up. Its fresh motor definitely got a lot of issues. It was leaking oil everywhere. So when I took it apart and checked everything out, everything was gone bad in it. There's all the gunk in there, and I hadn't put it together yet. So I'm just definitely going to use this one because this one definitely works a lot better than the other one. There we go. So I think I might continue to use this one for my lifetime instead of the other one because the other one is plastic. But this one is definitely aluminum, almost metal. Almost look exactly just like the larger hung light chainsaw. It can only cut through bigger logs up in the hill, but this one can cut through limbs and stuff when you're limbing a tree. And it's a tiny little saw. not a biggie, but it can cut through big woods too. It's got plenty of power, not a big deal. And just like my MS-291, I never used it a whole lot because the MS-291 gets a little bit heavy. It'll get heavy when I used it a long time, because I would definitely just quit using it sometimes. But since I'm starting to become a homelite guy, so I'm going to start using the homelites, Husqvarnas, and Ryobi, and the Remington sitting right there on the red box instead of the steel MS-291. So I like the low saw. I love homelites. They're way a lot better, and they're fun saws to have fun with, but not recommend for Halloween and stuff, like I talked to you about them yesterday. But these things are dangerous too. But all these saws are not toys. They're only for firewood only. And it's a good little saw. I had that thing for about 4 years ago, after when I graduated high school back in 2019, and my uncle Daryl actually gave it away. He decided to give it to me when I get it fixed. I can keep it, and he just don't want to keep using it a whole lot because it's been smoking a lot because the piston rings broke, and when you had it on its side, it'll clog you up real bad. But I just don't even seem to care. But it's a good low saw, and cuts real good. It did come with a 14-inch bar, but I put a 16-inch bar onto this thing. But other than that, it's a good running low chainsaw. But someday, I'll have a video of it when me and Ronnie are cutting wood. I'll have when I find my GoPro cameras, I'll have I'll have a good footage for you guys so that you can watch what I'm doing, just like what JJV did on his, and may work out a lot better. When it does, I'll continue to use my iPhone and my GoPros. But other than that, this is a good low saw. They use it to trim around the house, around the farm. That's what I'm going to use this little guy for. A lot of trimming and a lot of farm work. With the big saws, Huskies, steel, old steel farm boss 031 AV, and the Remington, and the homelite XO12, which was right behind me, but I'll show you in a minute. Let me go ahead and show you. Here's the XO12. It's a manual oiler only, like I showed you of that saw about a year ago. But now this year I got it repainted, and I done a good painting job on this one, except for the Super XL. I'm not sure how I got it, but I need a little bit more practice where I can definitely learn how to paint better. I'll use the battery-powered saw for evening times, each time right before it gets dark, when I'm up in the hill camping. I'll definitely use this little guy to cut up wood sometimes, instead of using the larger saws like these guys, because you don't want to be waking your family members up when you're in the dark. But sometimes I usually work on sometimes during the nighttime, right before I go to bed, right before it gets dark. Each time when I used to work on these chainsaws, but I usually work on them sometime right before it gets dark. Start them and run them for a bit, and shut them off until the next day. And this low saw I'll be using is a good low saw, and the Super XL and the XL12 and another Super XL. Well, there's a review on my homelite XL automatic oiling. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. And thanks for watching, and don't miss out for more videos. Have a good night.